When you look at global politics, it can seem pretty chaotic, right? But what if there was an idea, a theory, that offers a surprisingly optimistic vision? That's liberalism. And it suggests that cooperation between countries isn't just possible, it's actually the most logical choice. So today, we're going to break down exactly how that works. So let me ask you this. Is the world just a brutal arena for power struggles? A constant battle where only the strongest nations get to survive? This one question has puzzled thinkers for centuries. And believe me, it leads to two completely different ways of seeing our future. The two heavyweights in this debate are realism and liberalism. Now, realism, it paints a pretty bleak picture. It sees a world of endless conflict, a zero-sum game where for one country to win, another one has to lose. But liberalism? It offers a totally different path, one where cooperation isn't some fantasy, but a rational choice that leads to everyone benefiting. All right, so let's really dig into this core divide, because to truly get what liberalism is all about, you first have to understand what it's pushing back against. This table really lays it all out. On one side, you've got the realists. They're pessimistic, they see selfish states obsessed with having more power than their neighbors, what we call relative gains. For them, it's all about states and their armies. But then, on the other hand, you have the liberals. They're optimistic. They believe states can cooperate for what are called absolute gains, making everyone better off. And they see that actors like the UN, NGOs, and big corporations are absolutely crucial players in keeping the peace. And this whole idea of absolute gains, it is the absolute core of the theory. See, a realist looks at the world like a fixed pie. If I get a bigger slice, you automatically get a smaller one. But a liberal says, wait a minute, why don't we just work together to bake a much, much bigger pie? It's not about who has more. It's about everyone getting more than they had before. You know that old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats? Okay, so you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how does this optimistic vision actually work? Well, liberalism isn't just wishful thinking. It actually proposes three really powerful pathways to make peace a reality. The first pathway is through something called, and stick with me here, neoliberal institutionalism. I know, it's a mouthful, but really it's just a fancy way of saying that having global rules and referees is a huge deal. Think about organizations like the UN or the World Bank. They create a stable playing field where even self-interested countries realize it's better to cooperate for the long haul than to cheat for some short-term gain. A perfect example of this, the World Trade Organization. It gives even rival countries the confidence to trade with each other because there are clear rules and a place to settle your fights. It just makes cooperation the smart, profitable choice because it takes away that fear that the other guy is going to cheat you. All right, pathway number 2. And this one is probably the most famous idea in the entire liberal toolkit. It's the simple but incredibly profound idea that democracies just don't fight other democracies. And why is that? Well, for one, leaders have to answer to their people, the ones who actually have to bear the costs of war. And two, democracies share this basic value of settling arguments with debates and votes, not with bullets. And here's the crazy part. This isn't just some feel-good theory. A lot of scholars consider this to be the closest thing we have to a scientific law in global politics. The historical evidence is just overwhelming. And the proof? Well, it boils down to one single, incredibly powerful number. 0. That's it. That's how many wars have ever been fought between stable, established democracies. It's a simple but absolutely stunning fact that backs up the whole theory. I mean, seriously, just look around the world today. The United States, Canada, Germany, France. Yeah, they have plenty of disagreements. They argue about trade, about foreign policy, you name it. But can you even imagine them going to war with each other? No way. It's become totally unthinkable. And that right there is democratic peace in action. Our third and final pathway? It's simple. Follow the money. This is called commercial liberalism, and it basically argues that when countries get all tangled up economically through trade and investment, going to war becomes just plain bad for business. It becomes economically irrational. And the logic here, it's really, really powerful. Think about today's world with these incredibly complex global supply chains. Attacking a major trading partner isn't just attacking them, it's like setting your own house on fire. The economic damage on both sides would be so catastrophic that it works as a massive deterrent. And you want a perfect, real-world example of this playing out right now? Look no further than the relationship between the United States and China. I mean, they are intense rivals, no doubt about it. But the sheer amount of trade and money flowing between them creates this incredibly powerful reason for both sides to pull back from the brink of a direct military fight.
Okay, so we've got these three big ideas. But here's the thing, they don't just exist in separate boxes. The real magic, the real power of liberalism happens when you see how they all weave together and make each other stronger.
And this is really where it all clicks into place. You see, democracy creates shared values and makes leaders accountable. Deep economic ties make war way too expensive to even consider. And global institutions give everyone a way out, an off-ramp, to solve their problems peacefully. When you put them all together, that is a powerful recipe for peace.
Which, of course, brings us right back to today and to the huge question hanging over all of us. With all the rising tensions we see around the world, we have to ask, is this liberal framework strong enough? Are the bonds of trade, democracy, and global rules powerful enough to keep us from sliding back into that old zero-sum world of conflict? Well, that is the great challenge of our time.